Welcome along. We have a cracking lineup on the show this evening. We are bringing the A-team, Philippe Auclair, with us this hour, as already France against England next Saturday night cries out to us. Champions Cup weekend also coming up. Rory O'Connor will be on Monday Night Rugby after 8. Football show then. Pat Nevin with us from 9 from Doha, and then Tim Vickery 9:30 with his take on Brazil against South Korea, which has just kicked off 0-0 after 4 minutes. 53106 the text number. We are at Off the Ball on Twitter. Ann-Marie Donelan here in studio. Good evening. Hello.
Hi, Joe.
And Michael McCarthy. Hello to you.
Hello, folks.
Spare a thought for Pearl Matty Cash. Pearl Matty Cash versus Kylian Mbappe. It was always likely to go one way, and it did indeed go that way. He spoke afterwards to the media, Matt Cash, and he wasn't even disappointed. Akin to the Australian players getting photos with Messi, Matty Cash understood he had hit a certain level and he shouldn't feel too badly about things. He did, though, give a brilliant insight into what it's like to play against
His legs
Kylian
were burning.
Mbappe. That part I thought was fine.
Okay.
What did that tell you? I was like, I didn't know what that meant, really. He was tired. Is that what you read into that?
As in, like, there was nothing left in them.
Yeah. I thought what he summed up brilliantly was, so he's there, he's with Mbappe, and he was saying, you know, I have two choices. I can get really tight to him and try and stop him getting the ball, or I can drop off. So he said, I didn't know whether to drop off or to go tight to him. Whenever I went tight, straight away he would spin in behind. And so then your alternative is, okay, well, I'm going to give myself a few yards. Have the ball, take it. And he said, when he gets the ball, so obviously he's super quick, regardless, and if he gets any kind of momentum, you're in trouble. But Cash talked about something that we've seen Mbappe do, and he brings it to life really well. So he said, he gets the ball, he stops, then you have to stop. And he said, then when he goes, quote Matt Cash here, he's the quickest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's got such a head start on you. Yeah.
You can't do anything
Yeah,
about
you can't
it.
do anything.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, it's not akin to Messi now making do with no pace and no real speed.
Brains and football skill. Yeah,
craft
that's
now.
it.
This will not be something that Mbappe will be able to do in 15 years' time.
I was thinking about this all the way through the match. He can do all the other stuff too. Sorry, I just didn't mean to interrupt, because I was the same thing. I was thinking, how do you stop this guy? Well, he's got to run out of pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually he will, and he'll have to do other things. But that move where he stops and then you have to stop, and then you have to wait for him to go, because obviously whoever's in possession has control of the situation, you can't stop him then.
Yeah.
And so Matty Cash is walking off going, listen, it was tough. What am I meant to do?
And am I the only person who thinks Matty Cash played well?
You and Matty Cash seem to think he did quite
I
well.
thought he did okay. He threw himself to the ground one time. But he really shouldn't have. But they got away with that.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the goals and stuff like that. I mean, Mbappe was unplayable, I thought, at times. I thought Poland in general played well. They were a completely different team than what we've seen in the rest of the tournament so far.
Well, that's true.
And yeah, I thought Cash did okay. Cash had an interesting World Cup though, because after they surrendered to a 2-0 defeat and held on for dear life against Argentina, he apparently sent Emi Martinez, his club teammate, into the dressing room, and he came out with a plastic bag with Leo Messi's jersey in it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, Matty Cash will remember his Leo Messi, Kylian Mbappe World Cup for the team that he made his debut for last November.
To Anne-Marie's point about his legs burning, he was saying that laughing. I didn't hear the interview, I read about it. He was asked, because he had talked about he'd spent the day watching Mbappe videos in bed, try and get ready, I
Trying to
suppose.
psych himself up.
And they said, what was the difference? He said, in real life, he's burning my legs. That's the difference. When he stands you up and moves, he does it really well. So there's not much you can do. I guess you need help. A 1v1 situation is just not going to end well for you and Kylian Mbappe. It will end well for Kylian Mbappe. It won't end well for you. Brazil have just scored. 7 minutes gone.
Oh, wow.
Oh. Who got it?
It is looking like Vinicius
Junior.
I would think, based on the high fives.
Yeah, it is.
8 minutes gone. Brazil won. South Korea 0, or Korea Republic. It's been a big World Cup for Korea Republic.
So it is Vinicius. South Korea, I think, is what we are generally calling them.
Sorry, we're slow on the replay here. Brazil are doing one of their several pre-planned celebrations. They made much of this pre-tournament. Oh, here we go. There's part 2 of it. We're getting a dance.
Oh, it's a full, like, Macarena style dance.
Full on dance.
Neymar has a new haircut, which I think is probably the headline from this game so far. It is bleach blonde. Still got the black beard, of course, but What a start for Brazil.
Yeah, it looks like Rafinha initially does quite well, turns the player inside out. We still haven't seen the goal, but we'll get it eventually. So it's down the right hand side, and it looks like it's Rafinha. Right hand side gets it, squares it low, goes through a bunch of bodies, comes to Vinicius back post, and it's a really clever finish, really cultivated. He had lots of bodies in front of him, so he just calmly stroked it with a bit of height into the far corner and managed to dodge everyone. So it's a really nice finish. Brazil 1-0 up is where we are after 8 minutes.
The other side of the coin with the Mbappe thing, just to go back to it for a second. So Mbappe, I thought Cash did okay, but he was in an unplayable situation. Kyle Walker, the BBC before the Senegal game, were talking about whether England should drop Kyle Walker for this game to save him for Mbappe, which had a slight air of arrogance to it. People were giving out about it. But also, Kyle Walker didn't have the easiest time against Sarr, I would say, last night, and especially in the first half when it was a real game.
No, it was a guy coming back from injury performance.
Exactly, yeah, and you're thinking, right, okay, I don't know if Kyle Walker is a massive step up on Matty Cash in his current form. He is in overall, I'm not comparing the two as footballers, but I think in current form, I would say he's going to have a bit of trouble unless they decide to go with Trippier and Walker. Yeah,
there's some talk of that. Because there's a clip of Walker from a few months ago being interviewed on 5 Live talking about playing against Mbappe for City, and kind of infamously, when Mbappe got the ball, he showed him the line in quite a dramatic, playful way, as if to say, if you want to go for a sprint here, let's do it. And Mbappe came inside and gave a square pass and didn't, and Walker was laughing about it, saying, yeah, I did it because I wanted to prove to myself I could take him on and prove to him I could match him for speed. Now, what would have happened if Mbappe had knocked the ball down the line and they'd gone for it? I'm not quite sure. But Walker, it seems, incredibly confident in his speed. He thinks he's the fastest player in world football.
Yeah, I've heard that, which is incredible.
It's a good thing to think, I suppose, but he may be in for a rude awakening.
I just think that we've never seen Kylian Mbappe play like he is at the moment.
No.
Like, if that matchup goes wrong, that's that game over.
Yeah.
Like, if you consider England in the first half an hour of their game last night, Mbappe would have absolutely ripped them to shreds. He would have taken all those chances that Senegal didn't take. And it just feels like that's what England's World Cup could come down to, Kyle Walker's performance.
Yeah.
He has 5 days now.
Yeah, a long time to wait for this game. It's not until Saturday.
I know.
I tweeted this yesterday, but I actually think it's incredibly unfair. I've never seen this before. England will have played their last group game, the last 16 game, and the quarterfinals going Tuesday, Sunday, Saturday. Brazil, if they were to win tonight, which it looks like they will play Friday, Monday, Friday in that time. They're actually playing earlier, and even then, if they get to the semi-final, they'll play the day before England.
Yeah.
It's actually, I just think that's amazing. Like, England are basically playing 1 day a week at the moment. They're playing every 6 days. That's an incredible advantage, I think.
Big time.
South Korea manager raised this in his press conference before this game, how it's so unfair, and obviously Brazil's side is so stacked, it won't make as big a difference for them. I think it's 9 changes from Friday.
Right.
So, but obviously South Korea's squad doesn't have half the depth in it, and he did raise this.
Well, it's going from bad to worse.
Yeah.
Brazil have a penalty. Neymar's about to take it. 12 minutes gone. Brazil already 1-0 up. So already it's looking like a long way back for Korea Republic. I'll just go every second one, I think.
It looks like my complaint about Brazil's hardship won't be too founded if they can just pass the ball around and play basically for 80 minutes tonight.
Do we know who South Korea's keeper is? No.
There's a hospital pass.
I didn't ask it in a mean way. Just genuinely, do we know where he domestically plays?
Kim Sung-gyu.
I don't.
But I couldn't tell you anything about him.
This could be his moment. He's about to arrive on the world stage.
Yes, indeed. We'll all know his name after this. So 12 minutes gone. Neymar's taking his time. He's almost ready to go with the penalty.
Plays in Saudi Arabia for Al Shalab. So there you go.
Feel a bit more okay with not knowing that.
Is Al Shalab where Ronaldo's going?
Oh, I don't know.
Who knows?
You're asking us so many questions here that we don't know the answer to.
This is not great radio to be hitting it with these. We don't know the answers to any of these questions.
Okay, come on, take this.
Here goes Neymar. Trot, trot, trot. Slows it right down.
Oh
man. He rolls that ball into the net
cheeky.
As slowly as is humanly possible. That was a very confident penalty.
That game's over. We can relax tonight a little bit now.
What celebration have they got now? So this is they start every celebration with this, which is everybody in a circle jumping up and down. It's your standard nightclub 2 a.m. job at this point. And
Oh
then
yeah, what song has come on?
The Killers,
We won't say.
Mr.
Maybe
Brightside.
this time of year, Fairy Tale New York.
Yeah, maybe.
Surely, yeah.
So that's Neymar, 7 goals in 12 World Cup matches now, which is a pretty impressive record, to be fair. Given we're raving about Mbappe's 9-11, 7 and 12 isn't bad.
Pemar.
They went to a replay just as they started part 2 of the celebration. This is the problem here. You got to get into the rhythm of this with Brazil. Right, we should kick on and start the news round. We are 2-0 up for Brazil. The news round, as ever, is with thanks to our friends at Gillette. Anne-Marie, you're starting with the earlier game today. Lots of drama.
Yeah, so the winner of this Brazil and South Korea game that Brazil already lead 2-0 will face Croatia next. That's after they booked their place in the quarter-finals with a 3-1 win over Japan on penalties. That game finished up 1-1 after extra time.
Terrible
Yeah,
penalty
it was.
shootout.
It wasn't the greatest penalty shootout from Japan. With about, I'd say, 75, 80 minutes on the clock, both teams decided, well, I don't want to be the player to make a mistake. And so it petered out a touch. And then Japan missed the first penalty, missed the second penalty, and it became pretty inevitable after that.
The penalties were poor as well.
Yeah.
Did you like Lewandowski's penalty? I didn't the first time, but I liked the fact he backed himself to do the same thing the second time.
It's funny,
It made it kind of cool.
Rory O'Connor was in earlier and he was saying it wasn't for him. He thought it was just had a bit too much going on. Just
Yeah.
take the penalty, kind of.
Yeah, but then the fact he did it and it came off the second time was cool.
But
Yeah.
it's such a fad at the moment that we're seeing so many
Yeah.
really crappy penalties being missed. I'm sorry, but do what the first guy for Croatia did and just come down and just whack it
Whack
into the
it.
corner.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Can professional footballers who are this good not trust themselves to kick the ball hard and into the corner?
Yeah, I take the point.
It must be harder to do the dance as you're
keeper.
trying to kick, waiting for the keeper to go, and a lot of them aren't good enough to do it.
I definitely think if you're it's a standard Premier League game and you're Jorginho and you're good at it and you're not overly nervous, I kind of think I understand the logic of, well, if you wait for the keeper to go, then you're guaranteed to score
Yeah,
by
but why do
rolling
the
it in.
keepers go?
But well, it's hard not to, it
It's
must be hard not
Jorginho
to.
who does the same thing every time. Why?
Though 1 in 10 times he'll just hit it normally and then you're like, I was waiting for him to go. But I think if you're under a lot of pressure, it's a harder skill to execute. A World Cup final, I would think, listen,
Definitely.
Gotta be feeling
the whole
fluid,
world is on your
relaxed.
face as we wait for VAR, as we wait for complaining, and the whole thing takes about 5-10 minutes
Yeah.
in a shootout. The first penalty taker, number 10 for Japan, was up there for 3 minutes before he got to kick the penalty with the
Yeah.
referee arsing around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knew he was going to miss straight away.
there's too much going on in it perhaps if you're super nervous. But I guess it's fad at the moment for sure. Pele then.
Everybody's Jorginho. Sorry.
Yeah.
Pele's family say he has not been moved to palliative care. Reports had circulated last week and over the weekend suggesting he was in end-of-life care. But in an interview last night, his daughter said this wasn't the case. They say they're confident he will return home from hospital when his condition improves. He has, of course, been receiving treatment for colon cancer.
Warren Gatland, meanwhile.
He is the new Wales head coach. He replaces Wayne Pivac, who leaves the role after a really poor run in the Autumn Nations series that included a shock defeat to Georgia and also losses to Australia and New Zealand. Gatland previously, of course, was in charge of Wales for 12 years. That was between 2007 and 2019. He'll lead them into the World Cup next year, and there's also an option to go through until the next tournament in 2027. His first game will be against Ireland. That's in the Six Nations in Cardiff in the spring.
Of course it is. Is there anything surer that his first game is against Ireland?
In Cardiff.
And that Wales will be ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
It will be a sold-out Cardiff. It will be a Welsh team believing all is possible.
Yeah.
So it does change the prospects, I think, for Welsh rugby next year, just because they have that ability to be inspired. On the other hand, it also speaks to the paucity of ideas in Welsh rugby. Structurally, the thing is a mess.
Yeah.
You've got a bunch of people in a room, and one of them said, is there anything to be said for another Warren Gatland stint?
Yeah, well, in fairness, the first stint wasn't too bad. Or,
No.
well, I don't know, was it a stint in two halves or whatever? Because he obviously took the couple of breaks and stuff, but he was only there once as technically as coach, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, very
But,
much so. And managed to win
Yeah.
3
but
Grand
if-
Slams, 4 Six Nations, World Cup semi-final. I mean, it was extraordinary.
And Wales, more than any team in the history of the world, tend to win a Grand Slam out of nowhere when you think that they're not even a contender. and Gatland's perfect for that. It wouldn't surprise me at all. You just have to think there's a logical part of you, that's the part of your brain that just knows what Wales do. And then there's the other part of your brain that's logical and just thinks like, they probably don't have the players at the moment.
No.
You know, and they're relying on an older generation of players that hasn't been that rebirth or that rejuvenation. So, you know, Ireland will have to, like, Ireland surely will look at this a little bit more cool-headed than us and think, right, this is still the same team that we're facing. You know, we have to be wary that they have a good coach who will have them up for it, and it will be in a raucous Cardiff, etc., but we're a better rugby team. The scared fan who's seen it all before certainly thinks otherwise.
It makes things more interesting as well. I mean, I quite hope Eddie Jones stays on for that reason as well. Gatland, Eddie Jones. I mean, that's the cast of characters I want for a Six Nations.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Anne-Marie, good news from South Africa?
Yeah, South Africa's World Cup winning wing Spu Nkosi has been found safe and sound. The Vodacom Bulls have confirmed today he had been reported missing by them after being absent without leave for 3 weeks. So much concern, but thankfully he's been found safe and sound.
Back to World Cup, the Raheem Sterling situation, dreadful.
Yeah, Raheem Sterling's England teammates have reportedly put security guards on 24-hour alert following a robbery at the Chelsea forward's home. Surrey police are currently investigating a burglary at Sterling's house. His manager Gareth Southgate said on Sunday night that the 27-year-old had returned to England from their camp in Qatar to be with his family. He then missed their 3-0 win over Senegal. It was initially reported that an armed robbery had taken place while Sterling's family were in the home. A statement then from police today say they were contacted just before 9 o'clock on Saturday after the occupants of the property came home and discovered a number of items including jewellery and watches had been stolen. It's not yet clear whether Sterling, who scored in England's opening game against Iran, will return for Saturday's quarter-final against France.
Horrific. We're now at a point for these players, and it's so grim to say it, where they probably feel year-round if they're playing a match, they have to have security at their home, especially if their family are there.
Oh yeah, it's a big part of the FA's preparations as well when they go to tournaments, the security operations that are in place back home.
But what happened here, you'd have to
Well, we don't
wonder.
know.
We'll
It's obviously
probably find out in time, but it's so grim. Like, I mean, this is how many times have we heard something like this? Obviously, the initial report sounded a lot scarier than it ended up being, which is like a burglary, and you know it's terrible there in itself. But yeah, thankfully his family weren't.
I think Angel Di Maria's family never quite recovered from his home being burgled in Manchester, and was one of the reasons family was just keen to get out of there, because it is a traumatic thing. So I don't know. It's just appalling, really. But
the fact that the two situations are quite different is a little bit strange as well. Like, you'd hope that Sterling didn't get incorrect information that his family had been in the house or anything like that, and police in Surrey came out to confirm the situation today.
Yeah.
Like, you just hope that he got the correct information and didn't make...
I'd say he did. I mean, I can't imagine that the first second you hear the news, the first thing you don't do is phone your partner and talk to the people involved. So I suspect he knew what had happened, but probably still wanted to get home, you know?
Yeah. It's still worrying, though, that the reports of an armed robbery while the family were there were made in the press this morning. And it seems like that wasn't correct.
Yeah. Worrying...
Well, just the misinformation in the press.
Well, where do you want to start on that? These things happen,
it's just the situation seems unfortunate.
The football side of it, I know, is way less important, but I think he's lost his place now. I think it'll be given the performance last night, I think Rashford might even be ahead of him. You know, I think he'll go with Foden, Kane and Saka again, and how could you not after that performance last night? And then Rashford is the form player to come off the bench, then it's not going to be Sterling. Yeah. Now, I know Saka has a lot of belief in him, and he won't want to punish him for going home for, you know, when his house was robbed to look after his family. But just from a football point of view, I think it was almost he hasn't played in the last two games now. I can't see him getting back in.
And that's not to mention Grealish. There was certainly a moment last night when England were playing their best stuff and they were 2 or 3-0 up and they were just looking absolutely phenomenal. And then it cut to the bench and you saw just this array of talent that you did think to yourself, They're going to win the World Cup
They're
this
not.
time.
They're going to.
They have as good a chance as they've ever had in our lifetimes.
Yes.
By a
They could be
distance.
the second best team in the World Cup.
They really could.
I think if they'll beat France, they'll win it.
There's every chance.
Oh,
They'll get so much out of that.
Yeah.
Beating Mbappe, beating the world champions.
Because when they're going forward, they're just devastating.
But they've never, like Southgate has never come up against a top team.
Top nation.
Italy
Well,
was the closest, and I don't think Italy are a top team. They didn't qualify for the World Cup. They never. Belgium, that wasn't a real game. The time when they played them in the
No
World
great
Cup.
shakes, Belgium.
And look at them. No, but that was a good Belgium team 4 years ago. But the two of them were true.
Look, when
It
Kyle
was a-
Walker mauls Kylian Mbappe next Saturday, you can come back to me.
I
it was
suppose
really big
we
for
don't know
them
until.
I know,
to
I know.
beat Germany last year.
Yeah, Germany
Just-
on the way out. But yeah, that was the
but
best team,
it
wasn't it, Jen?
It was the biggest statement they've made, this Southgate team beating that German side. But they'll say that they had to play what was on their side of the draw.
They've had some lucky draws. France in the quarterfinal is a touch unlucky, so
Yeah.
I can't wait for this game already. Philippe Auclair is going to join us very shortly to chat about it and chat about France and Mbappe amongst other things. You've got some Jordan Henderson for us?
Yeah, in that 3-0 win over Senegal, Jordan Henderson became the oldest ever England player to score in a World Cup knockout game for them. The 32-year-old broke the deadlock to score for Gareth Southgate's side in the 39th minute. That was after a poor enough start to the game. Harry Kane and Bukayo Saka then also found the back of the net in what was a comfortable enough win in the end. That sets them up for a quarter-final showdown with France. Here is the Liverpool midfielder speaking to ITV after the game.
I thought it was a good performance, to be fair. I thought it was a strong performance. A couple of half chances I think they had early doors, but I think from after that we took control of the game. Once we scored the goal, I thought it went from strength to strength, and it was a really professional performance. Clean sheet is big, and I thought the desire without the ball was really good tonight. So a lot of positives, but still room for improvement.
What's it like for you to make a frontline contribution here at this tournament?
For me, it's to make a contribution to the team is to sacrifice everything, give everything when I'm out there playing, keep the intensity and energy levels high. You know, work as hard as I possibly can without the ball, and try and help others around us do the same. So yeah, I'm happy, but I can still improve. I can still be better in certain moments within the game. But it's nice to be on the pitch to contribute. Yeah.
Are England playing at a quality level that is higher than previous tournaments you've been part of?
I think the last few performances have been, well, to be fair, all of the performances have been very good. Certainly in moments of games, but the biggest thing for me in the last few is the defensive pressure without the ball has been really, really good, and that's something we need to keep going, especially in the next game, because they're a world-class team with world-class players, and you need to be spot on without the ball and with the ball. So everything needs to be spot on for us to have a chance of winning.
It was a great goal, obviously, largely down to Bellingham. There is something very appealing about midfield runner not breaking stride to finish chance. Just had that
Yeah,
smooth.
it was a great goal.
It was a beautiful goal, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually very happy for Henderson, I have to say. I think he was written off basically before the World Cup, and now he's in the starting team now. Unless they go to 5 at the back, I think he's in there for the rest of the tournament.
It does look that way, and the fact even that he was taken off just to rest up suggested further involvement. Breaking news, Anne-Marie. Cristiano Ronaldo has not completed a deal to sign for Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, just there.
Just there. Now, I still can't tell you much about the South Korean goalkeeper, but that is one of your questions answered.
So where's he off to?
So we should finish, by the way. Shane Walsh.
Oh yeah.
He seems to like Croke Park.
Yeah, beautiful performance yesterday from Footballer of the Year nominee Shane Walsh. Put on another masterclass, as you say, in Croke Park. The Galway man kicked 9 points in a man of the match performance as Kilmacud Crokes beat the Downs of Westmeath by 7 points in the end to retain their Leinster Club Senior Football Championship title. Crokes led by 11 at half time. Walsh scored 6 of them. The game was over really by then, despite a good effort by the Downs. It was way too much for them them to do. Kilmacud will now play Cairns O'Rahilly's or Newcastle West in the semi-finals in the new year. Elsewhere then, over the weekend, Crokes lost the hurling decider to reigning champions Ballyhale Shamrocks 222 to 219. Antrum's Dunloy were crowned Ulster hurling champions. That was after a 212 to 16 points win over Schlockneal. And Galway champions Moycullen won their first ever Connacht Senior Football crown. They beat Sligo's Turlestran by 6 points at Pearse Stadium. If Kilmacud were to get to the All-Ireland final and Moycullen, Sean Kelly, Galway captain, would pick up Shane Walsh. Be an interesting narrative.
Tasty.
Yeah.
Moycullen good?
Yeah, they'd have an awful lot to do now to beat Glen or Kilcoo. But they're on a bit of a run. They're on a momentum, yeah. They'd fancy their chances. But that'd be really good, Shane.
Shane Walsh, 9 points, man of the match.
I know.
Something sits wrong with it though, doesn't there? But I don't know. It's not for Shane Walsh. I mean,
Brazil have just scored again, Richarlison.
29 minutes. It was an easy finish. He was in 1-on-1 and he just opened out his body and slid it low into the far corner. Celebration so far yet to take off.
Brazil, England, France. Thought Argentina were very good the other night.
I didn't.
Did you not?
No. Don't rate
Did you
Argentina
not?
at all. No. I think Argentina are in trouble.
Yeah, I don't really agree. I have to say, I think, possibly. I don't know. It'll depend what happens against Holland. But anyway, the teams are starting to find a little bit of form, which was suggested would happen in the mid-season tournament with no time.
It's full of big names, isn't it?
Argentina are definitely playing differently than they were earlier in the tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Like, I don't know, maybe they haven't been as impressive, but they're definitely looking like a little bit more of a cohesive unit, I suppose.
This time the coach is involved in was he doing like a chicken dance with Richarlison? This is better than the football. So they did their initial in the nightclub jumping around bit and then they ran over to Cheche. Yeah, and he did some kind of a chicken dance with Richarlison.
Richarlison did 3 keepy-uppy headers in a row in the build-up to this goal.
This was samba football for this goal. Tim Vickery will explain all on the celebration front, I'm sure. He's with us at 9:30. Brazil look very, very good here, it must be said. 29 minutes gone, they are 3-0 up. Anne-Marie, thank you very much. Thanks. Are you with us for the week?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
And that's it.
See you tomorrow. Michael McCarthy, bring your questions tomorrow. Whatever you want, I got the answers.
Text us.
Michael McCarthy, thank you very much.
Cheers.
All you need for Christmas.
News Talk's Christmas Cash Machine.
So we've had a run of rollovers, 4 winners in a row now. Sean Galligan from Cavan, our latest winner, picked up the call just in time today to give us the important number. So the cash machine's been reloaded. The new number for tomorrow is €33,495.21. Text play to 57557. Get your entry in by 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And then across the Go Loud network of stations, Barry Dunn will make the call. If your phone rings, answer within 5 rings. Give us the exact amount in euro and cents, and the cash is yours. So remember the amount again, €33,495.21. Over 18s only, text costs €2.50. You're playing across the Go Loud network of stations. Terms and conditions are on newstalk.com. Philippe Auclair with us.